Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is I, your host, Mr. Sean, and today we are celebrating. Not only are we celebrating my Etsy store coming back, I've had it down for a while, it will be back up by the time this video comes out, but we are also celebrating the very first person, other than myself, to post to r/MrSeanReadsStories. And to celebrate this, starting today, February 10th, I will be running through the 16th, so for 7 days, my Etsy page will have 15, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna do 20% off all orders, and of course, as always, free domestic shipping on all orders over $35. So go ahead and check out my Etsy page, link will be in the description, and as always, if you have a story you would like to hear me read, please go to r/MrSeanReadsStories and post your own story there, and maybe, like this upcoming story, you'll see it on this channel. And so without further ado, we get to today's story, which is cross-posted from r/RPG Horror Stories, and has been posted here by user Artmonzo, and it's entitled, Rape is a Lesson. How my first Savage Worlds game went. Not safe for work for SA and sexism. I will say that unlike most of my stories, which are complete cold reads, I have skimmed this one, but I have not read it in detail. I'm going to be running a Savage Worlds game for the first time and jogged my memory about why I barely picked up the books for nearly a decade. This game took place in the mid-2000s from what I remember. One of my dad's friend was hosting a How to Play Savage World game. Let's call Bob, was one of my dad's younger friends, male 40, I, 17, maybe 18, male, my brother Wolf, male 14, and 3 other locals joined the game. We would be playing in one of his game settings. Bob was trying to finish making Ace, official licenser, for his blooming game dev career, which I know never got off the ground. It was a classical fantasy setting with orcs, spelled with a K, and elves in revealing armor. We each took on the classical role of a fantasy party assassin, me, and Holy Knight, Wolf, and the other 3 were a ranger, priest, and wizard. We were given a basic quest. People had disappeared, and the local lord hired us to investigate the claims that orcs had kidnapped his subjects. The Lord wanted us to save the kidnapped people. We agree to the quest and go off to the destroyed town, fighting some bandits looting the town and finding tracks leading to the orc camp. Most of the hostages had been killed and put on pikes or slowly roasted on an open fire. The ranger and wizard suggested that I sneak into the warlord's tent to see if I could backstab the leader in his sleep, as the ranger worked on taking out the outlying patrols. I remember being able to sneak in with the ranger's help, as the DM described how the warlord was having his way with his harem of sex slaves, completely distracted. In the middle of a public play, with some very not safe for work details thrown in for good measure. I was in the position to backstab, but I was hesitant about if I could one-shot this guy. The bandit encounter was a bit of a slog from what I remember, as the enemies had high toughness, parry, and we barely got any wounds on them without ganging up. My assassin got 1 kill because my die exploded at least 4 times, so even with surprise round and edges, I wasn't very comfortable jumping the boss for the one-shot. Here's the rough conversation that followed. Me: can I drop poison into his drink? He is drinking, right? DM: yes, he's getting all of his needs met simultaneously. Party: stab him! Me: I want to ensure he won't turn around and one-shot me. Wolf: he's as distracted as he's going to get. Stab him! Me: if I miss, you guys aren't in range to help me. Wizard: then why are you there? Me: you told me to. Party: just stab him! Me: I get behind him, dagger out, and... Before I could finish, the DM describes one of the patrols blowing the horn after finding a dead body that the ranger sniped. The warlord immediately got up from his chair, put his pants back on, grabbed his axe, and ran out of the tent without him taking note of me. The wizard and ranger had set up a kill box for the minions to be driven into. Wolf had to make his taunt roll to get the warlord to focus on him, while the priest acted as a pocket healer. During my turn, I loaded my crossbow with a poison bolt and took a turn to aim, hoping to get a ranged sneak attack against the warlord when one of the sex slaves came up from behind me and grabbed me. DM: the slaves are already bored and want OP to entertain them in bed. Me: I pull out my dagger and stab her, trying to make an example of what would happen if any of them tried to get near me again. DM: roll. I roll 1s on both die. DM: You slash at her, cutting off the rest of the slave's clothing. Taking this as foreplay, she and the other orc girls drag you off to bed to have their way with you. Me, what the fuck? No, I don't want this. DM, the dice roll where they roll, bro. Me, I'm an assassin. A mob of slaves shouldn't be a match for me. DM, let's see what the dice say. So for all that final combat, I was rolling strength checks as a harem of orcs had their way with my character as everyone else was too busy to help, or at worst, thought that getting raped was a proper consequence for not stabbing him when I had the chance. By the time I got free of the harem, the boss was on his last legs, so I took his spare axe and split the warlord's head in two. We searched for survivors with the priest's detect life power and could only find the elven princess of a neighboring kingdom, heavy with child, as well as the harem of orc whores that had all had their way with me. I grabbed the axe and got ready to exact my revenge on them when Wolf the Holy Knight stopped me as his order was pro-life and wouldn't let me kill innocent babies. Pointing out that they eat and rape people for fun and that the babies aren't even born yet, I went to attack and was critted by Wolf in the back, but no, not killed, no. He had broken all of my limbs and set my body over the cliff and to think about my life choices as my life faded away like the sunset overhead. Moments later, he asked how much we were getting from the Lord for saving the princess, only to have it pointed out that they didn't save anyone, so failed the quest. He took it out on the elf by running his blade through her pregnant belly, and then two-handed the blade driving it through her chest before finally doing an anime spin-around strike to decapitate her. The party walked off into the sunset to talk about the job to take next as the orc sex slaves gave my body to drag back for a second round. Okay, what the fuck did I just read? Bob asked everyone how they enjoyed it, and I was the only one that didn't like it. See, I spent the last half hour getting gang raped by orcs and killed by my brother. My brother said that it was what his character would do. The night was a parody of Catholicism/Christianity being the right mix of racist hypocrisy and murder hobo in the name of being pro-life that all Western theism have. He also corrected me that he didn't kill me, just crippled me, with the DM conforming they're not going to kill me, just use me as breeding stock. I would have argued back with Wolf, but didn't feel like getting a lecture from my mother about playing nice and damaging his frail ego. The DM said I was just projecting and that I was just angry that my actions had consequences. Still, in private, he told me he would get shit if he did this to a female, and seeing he knew my dad, felt comfortable doing this to me. What the fuck? The rest of the party brushed me off and told me to suck it up, as it was just a game, and Bob told the best rape jokes. Ah, the early 2000s, when we all thought that was still okay. Savage Worlds as a game has picked up steam, as all of the players, excluding Wolf and me, want to host their games with the system. Anytime I tried to join a game with one of the OG players or Bob, or set up a game to run in Savage Worlds, the OG players and Bob would write in the comments about how funny it was seeing my character get raped, or if I was looking to get raped again. This came to a head when a woman new to the area posted that she'd wanted to run a game. I commented that I was interested late at night, and went to bed. In the morning, I saw that a flame war had started as Bob and his group of players had started the usual rape jokes, and when the woman started telling him off, they started harassing her as a feminazi, lesbian slut, until she just got the fuck out from the site. I love that Bob has admitted he'd get shit if he tried to make those jokes with a woman, and yet he still is completely okay making those jokes with a woman. I finally told my dad about this harassment and what happened at the game, as one of the things Bob said was, "Go ahead, bitch, tell your dad, I'm his best friend." I didn't tell him that last remark, only that Bob had my character raped in his game. At first he found it kind of funny and said that sounded like him, but after showing him the multiple harassing posts, Dad said he was going to make a few phone calls. First off, the game forum was set up by a group of local game stores, one of which my dad consulted for. The manager of the main store, running it, made a post about the toxic behavior and how it would no longer be tolerated as it was generating a bad rep for the main store and the other stores were threatening to leave the site. It was against the rules to begin with, and she will be reshuffling the mods as some of them were a part of the problem. Bob told the manager to stop being a lesbian slut and to stop pushing the feminazi agenda down their throats before telling everyone about his true gamer forum he was making with blackjack and hookers. As far as I can tell, that forum died soon after for being an even more toxic place than the original game forum. The main store decided to shut down the old forum and help with a subscription for a meetup group that have been combined staff run instead. I saw Bob invited less and less to my father's games until everyone in that group seemed to have aggressively lost his contact info when I heard he had moved. The manager eventually moved on from the store when she got a job in another state with her degree, which was met with celebration from the remaining neckbeards. Wolf became an unbearable, entitled narcissist who was so toxic I had to move away from my family when stuck with them during COVID. My mother still low-key blames me for why her family isn't whole anymore. TLDR, 30-something neckbeard has my character raped for choking on attacking the BBEG of the one-shot. He harasses me online about being raped in-game until he gets kicked out of my dad's friend group and kills a game forum for the local area. Well, Art Monzo, I have to tell you, that was one hell of a story. Sorry about your family, about specifically your mom and brother. Your mom sounds incredibly enabling to your golden child brother with his fragile little ego. I was going to say, I'm glad you put that part about him, what became of him, because as I was reading your story, I was just like, oh my god, this kid is a fucking neckbeard. I was like, if your brother had turned out normal, I was going to be surprised. Maybe not surprised, like he was only 14, so there might have been some hope for him, but Jesus Christ. There's now a motorcycle outside my window, but fuck it, we're going to keep recording. Sounds like that store was full of neckbeards. I mean, you didn't say a lot of what the other people in the party did, but the fact that they just waved it because Bob tells the best rape jokes? I mean, what kind of fucking psychos are on about that? And they're like, well, it's just us guys here, And I understand that it's just us guys mentality to an extent. When I was in men's chorus in high school, our teacher literally said, hey guys, there's stuff we can say in here that we can't say once you guys go into the co-ed choirs. Like, just know that. Like, there is a thing, especially in the early 2000s, as boys club. But Jesus Christ, the fact that they harass some random woman who just wanted to run a game, I almost guarantee it's because she was a woman, and then had the balls to call her a feminazi and a lesbian slut? Like, Jesus Christ, these people are hella toxic even by early 2000s standards. I don't know much about Savage Worlds, so sometimes some of the things you were talking about I am not familiar, but it sounds like you were playing it pretty well. You were being you weren't trying to one-man army the situation, and you were being cautious, and because you were trying to play the game smart and not murder hobo-y, they decided that your character needed to be raped, and then after crippling your character and throwing you off a ledge because he's pro-life, your brother's character in-game decides to disembowel, eviscerate, and decapitate a pregnant elven noble who was herself a victim of sexual assault at the hands of the orcs, and go, oh, it's just my character, bro, even after he's wouldn't let you get revenge on your rapists because he's pro-life, and then, like a true neckbeard, said it's because he's mocking the church. Thank God you got away from your toxic brother, and you know what, your toxic mother too, because if you'd gone to her instead of your dad, Bob probably would never have been called out and cast out by the community. Your dad had your back, that's great, but yeah, your brother and mom are hella toxic. Bob is hella toxic, OP. I'm really hoping that your Savage Worlds goes well, and I just wish you the best of luck, and I really want to thank you for sharing your horror story with the channel. Also, one final note about Bob and what a disgusting piece of crap he is. He was describing sex acts to minors, as well as in his 40s or 30s, calling you, you are either not an adult or barely an adult, a little bitch, saying it's okay for him to make references about you getting raped because he knows your dad. And then, I mean, if I was friends with someone's dad, the last thing I would ever do is make a rape joke about them. Bob is a sick son of a bitch. And that is our video, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Please check the links both to Etsy to find your 20% off miniatures. And hey, be sure to head to the subreddit r/MrSeanReadsStories and post your own stories there so that maybe they'll end up on this channel just like this story today. Until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. Sean. I hope you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye!